Well, hello, everyone, and thanks for listening to the Quality Hub, Chatting with ISO Experts. I'm your host, Xavier Francis, and today I'm here with the infamous Suzanne Strausser, VP of Consulting and Development here at Core. Glad you could join us.
Wow, infamous. I always love to hear what I'm going to be called, so, you know.
Yeah. Well,
seasoned.
Illustrious.
Old-timey, whatever.
Old-timer.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you back again, as always. And this time we're going to be talking about opportunity management, the forgotten half of Clause 6.1. Maybe touch a little bit on how the upcoming 2026 update looks at opportunity. But first, let's learn a little bit about Suze. And I'm going to start with a question, as always. What fictional world would you visit and why?
Oh, boy. Well, because I'm listening to it in Audible currently, I'm going to have to say the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Ooh, that would be a good one.
Because I actually haven't been to the one in Florida.
You really need to go.
I know.
I've got you gifts from there and everything.
I know.
And you would love it. Actually, you know what? No, because you might never come back.
I love that world.
It would be cool. Yeah, it is really a lot of fun. Well, that's a good world to go into as long as it's like post or, post the big one. Mine would either be Star Trek or Middle Earth without Sauron, because I ain't going through that whole thing. But it would be so neat to see like the trees and all the stuff in the Shire and just,
For sure.
Yeah, just some of the cool things like that.
But Star Trek. I was in the Star Trek club in middle school.
Wow.
Dating myself. It was a long time ago.
Star Trek is just cool.
Yeah,
that would just be neat to be in the future like that and traveling around and seeing all these things. So, well, that's fun. Harry Potter would be a fun one too. All right. Well, let's start with our first question. ISO 9001 2015. Clause 6.1 talks about risks and opportunities. But why do most organizations focus almost entirely on the risk and ignore the opportunity side?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it's because risk feels urgent, obviously, and familiar. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of organizations are really wired to prevent problems, customer complaints, audit findings, product failures. So risk management kind of fits neatly into that, let's say, defensive mindset.
Okay.
Opportunity, on the other hand, it's a little trickier. So it requires more intentional thinking, creativity, leadership support, and so on. Mm-hmm. It's not really about avoiding pain. It's about creating value.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, a lot of QMS implementations stop at what could go wrong. And they don't really ask the equally important question, like, what could go better?
Yeah. And I can see that POV kind of makes sense. I mean, from a business, you're trying to look at, okay, we're doing okay. What could harm us?
Right.
Versus what is good from something, and we've talked a little bit about it with Brian Smith last week about risks and a little bit about this whole opportunity thing. And he gave a really good example of one. We were talking about tariffs, and he was saying, well, that's, because they want to bring things back on shore. And he talked about it almost from the opportunity perspective versus the risk. And I thought that was, again, a neat perspective on how you can look at things. So that is a really big issue of what could hurt us versus how can it benefit us. All right. So moving forward with that, how does 9001 currently, 2015, actually define an opportunity? Is it just another word for improvement?
Not exactly. So in ISO terms, an opportunity is a set of circumstances that can lead to improved outcomes, added value, or enhanced performance. Mm-hmm. And the trick is when it's deliberately acted upon, and the key difference there is intent.
Okay.
So improvement often reacts to problems that are already identified. Mm-hmm. Opportunity management is a little bit on the flip side. It's proactive. It's about recognizing, favorable conditions before something breaks, using your QMS to capitalize on them, like innovation, efficiency gains, new markets, improved customer experience. All those qualify as opportunities when they're deliberately managed through your system.
That makes sense. So the opportunity improvement, you're already looking at something that wasn't great.
Yeah, and I think about in the old days, we had preventive action, which honestly is not the same thing.
Right.
We kind of say it was replaced by opportunity, but it's not, because that was hey, what can go wrong and let's get ahead of it.
Yeah.
This is like, how can we totally improve and innovate?
Yeah. Yeah. Being innovative.
Yeah.
And let's just take AI, for example. Instead
Right.
of saying, how is that going to hurt us?
Yeah.
You're literally taking, how can that benefit us starting now?
Correct.
And that's looking at it as an opportunity versus not just how it's going to affect you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That makes sense. Why do organizations struggle to operationalize opportunity management inside their QMS?
Well, I think it's because they treat it as abstract or optional.
Mm-hmm.
Risks are really, really easy to document. We have templates, we have risk registers, we have clear consequences. Opportunities feel kind of vague unless leadership defines what value means for the organization. And so without that structure, opportunity management really gets relegated to brainstorming sessions or strategic plans that, really never connect back to Clause 6.1.
Right.
And the missing link is really alignment. So connecting opportunities directly to objectives, processes, measurable outcomes, that sort of thing. And I get on this soapbox once in a while, but I think this is where quality folks could really take a bigger role and be seen as business leaders.
Okay.
Not just the, air quotes, quality folks.
Business leader. Yeah, quality folks.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past a little bit, but I think it's high time for us, and I include myself as a recovering quality manager, to be valuable to the business. So not just by keeping certifications or by doing quality checks, but really by helping the organization grow and be more profitable and sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And by helping to put this abstract improvement into action, and thinking out of the box, thinking creatively, process mapping, creating processes for folks as you try to implement new things, really, really helping to make improvements for the business.
So let me ask you this. So when we talk about risk and opportunities, is it by looking at an element? Let's just like AI is presented to us.
Right.
And now we have to react.
Yes, that's right.
Is that what it is? You're just reacting differently? Or is it you go out and look for those opportunities?
It's more,
or is it both?
It's more that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it can be the first thing you said, because you may not even think about it. So we have this improvement plan where we list potential risks or opportunities, and it's the same list, right, for both, but it might spark something to say, oh, well, maybe we should be thinking about our business in a different manner.
Right. So it is a step beyond looking at something that's being presented to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
What role does leadership play in shifting the mindset from avoiding failure to intentionally creating value?
Well, I mean, leadership is everything here. ISO 9001 has always emphasized leadership, but opportunity management makes that requirement really real. So leaders set the tone by asking opportunity-based questions even. Like, where can we improve customer confidence? How can our process support growth, not just control? How can we be scalable? We ask that here.
Yeah.
What opportunities exist because of changes in our context? I know Brian Smith talks about that a lot, too.
Yes. He's all about context.
Totally.
He really is. And that makes sense.
And tie in your metrics to that.
Yeah.
But when leaders, reward proactive thinking instead of only fixing mistakes, opportunity management becomes part of the culture, not just a clause on the paper. And I know it's hard. Because it's not urgent like everything else is.
Right.
But you have to take a step back and look at things periodically, even in your management review. And that's something. It's an agenda item in management review, but we never talk about it.
Right. Getting a little weeds. We talked a little bit about last week with Brian, getting that culture down the line. And I believe we'd actually talked to Suzanne Weber-Smock a little bit about that too. How does this roll down that way? Or is it something that should be from more of a strategic perspective? We talk about when there's a problem and we talk about fixing the risks, get information from people that are down the line, that turn the screws, that work the service, whatever. Is this the same thing?
Yeah. And I think you have to be intentional about what you reward in a business. And a lot of companies reward heroism for fixing problems when we should be fixing the process.
Yeah.
right? And I think it's the same kind of thing with opportunity management. You know, you can never get there,
Right.
but we should, and we should reward folks for thinking of those things that may be a boon to our business if we would take the steps and implement them, you know?
Yeah. Again, that comes to being engaging. Maybe you don't just look at it from a perspective. Let's say when you're rolling your risks down for the year and you've gone through your strategic plan. Okay, here's the risk we want to look at. Do the same thing for opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an extra step. Yes, it's time.
Yeah.
And yes, like you said, it's not top of mind and it's almost like an added action that people are going to have to do.
Right.
But it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and what you just said there too is every time you identify an opportunity, you're also going to have to go through your risk management process as well.
About that
They're so
opportunity.
related.
Yeah. But that perspective really makes a
Right.
difference. Well, how should organizations practically identify and evaluate opportunities under the current 6.1 clause?
Well, I think the same disciplined way that you manage risk, but, you know, like we've been saying here, with a different lens.
Right.
So opportunities do come from changes in internal and external context, from customer feedback, emerging needs, trends in the industry, process performance data, you know, new technologies, skills, partnerships. You might have somebody join your organization who brings a set of skills that you didn't have before.
Right.
That presents opportunities. So, you know, once you identify them, they need to be evaluated based on impact and feasibility and alignment and risk.
Right.
You know, and alignment with your strategic objectives. And your goal is never to chase every idea. It's really to intentionally select opportunities that can move the organization forward.
I like what you just said there about people that you're hiring. We've all looked at LinkedIn or whatever, and it's like, these are the qualifications we want. Well, when you're interviewing, don't disregard something that doesn't fit, because it might be an opportunity to utilize that person from a new perspective.
Well, podcast is a good example, right? We never had planned to do a podcast, but you have that capability.
Right.
And so we've ended up creating this quite a strong series on.
Well, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
and I was going to say we've done that with multiple people.
Yeah.
And even when you first are here, it's one of those things that when we're doing onboarding and each team meets with, you know, a new person and all that.
Right.
We say, please, if you see something, you're only got fresh eyes once.
Yeah.
When opportunity management is taken seriously, and we talked about this a little bit already, how does it transform ISO 9001 from just that compliance exercise into the strategic advantage?
Yeah, sure. So I think it changes the question from are we compliant to are we competitive? So a QMS that manages opportunities becomes a decision-making framework.
Okay.
So not just an audit shield.
Right.
So it helps the organization prioritize investments, improve agility, align quality objectives with business growth. So instead of ISO being something that you maintain for certification, it becomes something you use to drive performance and long-term success.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, with that in mind, if organizations could take just one step to strengthen our opportunity management today, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, I think start asking opportunity-focused questions during your existing QMS activities. We said management review. I think that's the natural one to start with. Planning, you know, internal audits.
Maybe when you're talking to the people to get their ideas,
For sure.
you know, for the feedback, the buy-in.
Yeah, and don't add more bureaucracy. Just change your conversation a little bit. So if risk asks what could hurt us, then opportunity asks what could help us win.
I like that.
So when both are given equal weight, Clause 6.1 finally delivers on its, you know, true intent, I think.
Yeah. And it's not just, that other part of risk.
Yeah.
With that in mind,
Yeah.
we do have some changes that are coming in 2026. And
For
again,
sure.
this is February, March. So we're not talking about absolute.
Right.
This could change a little bit.
Still a draft.
Still a draft, but it appears to be that they're addressing opportunities a little differently. How do you see that? Any thoughts on that?
It's funny because they actually are in the standard, and this is probably not going to change. They have split out risk and opportunities. So you do have to think about them separately.
Right.
So that's a good step from the standards perspective, and it'll drive different processes, different behaviors for organizations because you're going to get audited on both now separately.
Yeah. Or before, it's really easy to focus on an audit.
Definitely.
On what risk have you managed versus what opportunities have you managed.
Yeah, I think it's a good change.
So you think more of what we talked about today is going to be almost required?
Yes,
more than it was before. Okay. Well, that's a good thing.
Yep.
And it's a good thing we're talking about it. Right now, though, if you're dealing with an audit, a certification audit, or you're dealing with a surveillance audit, it's not, but start thinking about it. And if you haven't already, this is a really good thing.
And businesses do this every day. It's just you're not intentional about it.
Right. Oh, and you're not documenting it.
Correct.
So the whole process that you have to go through that's, I hate to use the word required, but that the standard wants you to do to meet that audit, you're going to have to do it for opportunities now. When you didn't before, might as well start doing it now. And you're doing it anyway, but really put a focus on it.
Right. That's it.
Really good. Really good. For us muggles out here, do you have any last thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say we need to take the time to do this because it is important to sustain your business, to think about things that are beyond your grasp at any given point. Who knew that AI was going to be this huge disruptor in the marketplace?
Yeah.
And so that always creates opportunities for somebody.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't it be you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But think about what else is out there that you could really be. You can't be stagnant in your business, and we've always said that here. If you're not growing, then.
I remember when I learned that perspective, and it was a couple of jobs ago where they're like, "Look, if we're not growing, it doesn't mean that we're just doing well. It means that we're eventually going to fall off, and you have to look at opportunities to avoid that."
Yeah. ISO and certification means nothing if you don't have a business.
Good point. Yeah, so, really good point. Yeah. Really good point. Well, I appreciate you being here, as always, and walking us through this. It's an exciting time, looking at opportunities. And, man, doesn't it feel a little bit more positive than just looking at what could hit, what could hit you?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Well, thanks again. And we want to give a big thank you to everyone who's tuned into today's podcast episode. We hope you found it helpful and walked away with something valuable. If you'd like to learn more about Core Business Solutions, now proudly part of the LRQA family, and how we can support you with ISO certification, cybersecurity, customized training, helping you with opportunities, not just risks, we'd love to hear from you. Just email us at info@thecoresolution.com or visit us online at www.thecoresolution.com. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow the Quality Hub podcast on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube so you don't miss our next episode dropping next week. Thanks again for listening, and have an awesome day.